I'm gonna get her out and put it in.
She's gonna get her and put her here so that she brings it in. Perfect.
And then I have one repeat refraction. I'll put a red folder in the second slot up there.
Okay.
See it, that's why it's there.
Who's refracting you?
I can, yeah.
Okay, I don't refract.
I usually do.
Okay.
So if we're gonna work them up instead of waiting on y'all for Friday.
Usually, I mean, it just depends on
Okay.
who's free.
One of y'all
Usually either me or you or one of them out of there.
Yeah, I don't refract, so.
Okay, so they put some numbing drops in eye. In a second, you're going to see him put, is that going to stand there? You'll see him put some drapes over just to cover her eyelashes and keep those out of the way. Next will be the speculum to hold her eyelids open so that she can't blink. So he'll adjust his focus, and you'll see him put a little mark on the cornea with a little purple marking, and that's just to keep everything aligned. When he lays the flat back, when he repositions it back in a position, he lines his markings back up so that it's in the exact position it was prior to it being opened. Now's the suction ring. This is the part where he told y'all the pressure increases in her eye. And that same suction ring is what increases the pressure, but it also has gears for the keratom to glide across. And that's the keratom is the piece that makes the actual flap. They're going to irrigate just to keep her cornea moist and let it glide smoothly. This is the keratom he's placing, and it's going to come forward and then back.
Right.
Did you talk?
He did. I didn't.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the part where the pressure is real high in the eye. That's over. So now everything's kind of coming back to normal. You're going to see him lift the flap, and he'll dry and clean up real well, you know, along the way. So he's going to pick the flap up now. And lay it back. Now it's hinged at the top of her eye. It looks the bottom again. Remember, our view's reversed. So the hinge stays at the top, and that helps it stay in place later as she blinks. That smooths it down. Gravity and the natural blink reflex is going to be kind of smoothing over it. Now he's got it nice and dry. That kind of gritty orange peel effect is normal and actually a good thing. He's going to line up those two red lights that you see in her pupil. That's actually what she's looking at to focus. The laser's a scanning laser, so here in a second it's going to begin and you're going to see it. You'll be able to see it doing its little thing and the pattern that it makes when it's doing her correction. But she's staying in place by looking at it, and it also has a tracker on it and tracks any little minute movements if she makes any. So there's the laser. That's the part that reshapes the cornea to get rid of the prescription. And depending on how nearsighted, farsighted, or how much prescription, some are longer, some are shorter. That's it for the laser. So now you'll see him lay the flap back down. He'll irrigate real well underneath there to get rid of any debris that could be under the flap. And then just smooth it down. Give it a few minutes to kind of stay in place. When you lay the flap back down, your cornea, the clear part that he's working on, has little suction pumps in it. That's what keeps it clear. That's why it's got nutrients in it without having blood vessels or anything like that. It gets its nutrients from your tears, and then those pumps move to work everything through. So when you lay it back down, it's sort of the same kind of action as if you took 2 glass microscope slides and put water between them. They stay in, they stick together. However, if you can imagine, you could slip and slide them. So he wants to let them get a good stick, and that kind of trench or gutter you see around it, that part over the next few days will heal over to act like glue around the microscope slides, if that makes sense, as the outer layer kind of heals those edges. Okay, she has it in her pocket, and I have to knock because she got mine from me. Over to the right, if you see she's got a little broken blood vessel, that's normal. She may have 1 or 2 little red spots over the next couple of days. That's just normal from little tiny capillaries or blood vessels. When that pressure increases so high, some of them kind of bust a little bit. That doesn't mean anything bad.
Yeah.
And really, basically, she's done. Aside from him kind of making sure there's no debris, irrigating real well, and letting it dry a few minutes. He'll take the drapes off and the speculum out and move to the next eye and do exactly the same thing. This is where he kind of says he paints. And really what he's doing is making sure there's no wrinkles, and that his gutter is nice and even. As you can see, he's got the purple lines rematched, but you also want that little trench, if you will, to be nice and smooth and even all the way around so that everything's lined up. That just means somebody came through the door. That loud beep. Sounds like Tom's up, so he's about to probably pull her drapes and take the speculum out. Like I said, we'll do the same thing at the next, on the next eye. When we're finished in here, we'll walk across the hall to the microscope, and he looks real close with the microscope to make sure there's no debris that he couldn't see under this microscope. And if there is, sometimes we bring a patient back over and get rid of it. Like, we don't let you leave with that under there, but generally you're done at this point. She did great.
Look at her feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like a big sigh of relief after the first one's over, because you kind of now know what to expect.
Yeah.
And we watch feet all the time. They tend to clench or go back and forth or. Very good.